Hey, it's Joel here from Experts Unleashed, and today you are going to learn the 5 tips that will allow you to sell your expertise online. Now, this topic is really important because we're going to learn exactly how you are going to position and frame yourself so you can make the biggest impact in your business, launch as quickly as possible while still maintaining your sanity. So, let's get right to it. Now, the first thing that I want us to focus on is, as experts, we have extreme value. And for the number one thing that we need to focus on as we start to position ourselves and as we start to figure out what it is that we're actually going to sell, we have to understand what it is that people are actually buying from us and why it's important to learn from this as experts. So back when I first started and I was in the engineering market, right? I had created my daily FE exam prep stuff, and I was gaining some momentum, but I wanted to also help engineers in the career development world. But I had not really worked with anybody to help them advance their career. So I was brainstorming different ideas, and I was brainstorming why I was qualified to teach a course. Now, if you're in the same boat and you're trying to create your first course, or you're trying to position yourself as an expert, this is extremely important, right? And what I'm going to talk about is social proof. Not even social proof, just proof in general. So as I was creating this course, I need to figure out, how am I going to build myself as an authority? Because the number one thing that people are buying is they're not necessarily buying your content. They are buying who you are. Okay? You are the expert. That is ultimately what they are buying. So I got this course idea. How am I going to prove to them that I know what I'm talking about? So I had to look inside and figure out what pieces of proof could I prove to them that they should be giving me their money and learning from me on how to advance their career. One of the topics that I was really great at was acing my job interviews. So I started to do some self-reflecting. Like, I'm building this course, I started to map it out, but what is it that I can really hang my hat on? And I started to think about all the different job interviews that I took as an engineer, as a growing, budding, young engineer. And I realized throughout the entire course of my professional career, I had always landed a job offer from every single job interview. And I started to think to myself, wow, that's pretty exciting. Like, I don't know how many people can say that, right? So I'm like, okay, great. That's going to be the first thing of proof. And I'm like, well, now I needed to kind of reverse engineer. Like, I'm sure that there are a lot of people out there who get nervous in job interviews and want to know, like, what's my secret sauce for how I ace these job interviews. Having that piece of proof, having that piece of stat that I could say without a shadow of a doubt was 100% true, now instantly built me up as an authority. Now, this is really, really important because as we start to discover what the topics are that we want to launch our expertise in, we have to feel or find what proof we have inside that we've already done and accomplished for ourselves. So many people think that, oh, I can't sell a course, or I can't do X, Y, and Z because I haven't gotten results for anybody else. But it all starts with why you're an expert in the first place. And it's really important to understand that the first rule to learn how to sell your expertise is actually with you. Okay, so the second thing that you have to understand is, when we are now focusing on you as the expert, how are we going to position and price ourselves accordingly? Now, as I've mentioned in previous videos, which I'm going to link down below, we talked about the perfect expert model, where we talked about the 3 different tiers of how you can sell yourself as an expert or as a course, right? And when people are out there and they're selling their expertise, the number one thing that they try to do is they immediately say, oh, my course is only worth $7 or $50 or $100 or even $500, right? But I want you to think about something a little bit differently, okay? So many people have a hard time selling themselves at, let's say, $1, $2, $3, $4, even $5,000. So the way that I'm able to help explain this is, I want you guys to think about something, okay? Think about in the world of minimum wage, and you are an employee, right? Minimum wage might be, I think it was like $8 an hour or $5 an hour back recently. I know it's always changing, but in the world of minimum wage, you are paid on an hourly rate. And so what does minimum wage look like in terms of gross annual year, right? So if it's $10 an hour, roughly that's about $20,000 a year. So as you start to think about that, right, and $20,000 a year if you're working a full-time job might be, I don't know, $15,000 or $2,000 per month. I'm just giving you some ballpark figures here. So at a minimum wage employee, an employer is paying you on average $2,000 per month for your services. Now, how does your value convey to whatever it is, the pain that you're solving them, right? If we go back to the perfect expert model, the highest level of service that you're going to provide somebody is either one-on-one support or a done-for-you service. So can you honestly say that your one-on-one or top-level service is worth less than somebody paying a full-time minimum wage employee, $2,000 per month? And when you start to kind of get that shift, so many people devalue themselves, like, oh, I'm going to help you land your dream job, and if you want my help to do that one-on-one, sure, I'm only going to charge you $400. And then you start to think about how much work it actually takes. And yeah, people are probably going to take you up on that offer, but until you have that shift and realize you're worth way more than that, because you're putting in a lot of time and effort and energy to help them get whatever that end result is, you realize that you have way more value than you actually know you do. So rule number 2 is know exactly how to price yourself accordingly. Until you figure out how to price yourself accordingly, you're going to always be scraping the bottom of the barrel, and you're really going to have a hard time keeping your business afloat. That's why we always start with the top level and scale down, as I mentioned in the perfect expert model. Okay, rule number 3 for how to sell your expertise is we have to understand that what we are actually selling is not a tangible deliverable of our information. We are selling an end result, right? We're not selling information. We are selling transformation, okay? If I'm a doctor and if I'm a dentist and I help remove teeth for people who have infected gums or infected cavities or whatever it is, and people walk into my office and they've got that throbbing toothache, right? What I'm selling them is pain relief, is pain-free solutions. I'm not selling the drugs and the anesthesia to put them under. I'm not selling the numbness that goes into their mouth so I can yank that tooth out. No, the thing that I'm selling is be pain-free, right? Remove that pain. Live a healthy life without an infected mouth. That's the solution, that's the end result that I'm selling. And you're getting them to buy your transformation. And so rule number 3 is all about knowing that transformation is greater than information. And rule number 3 is directly correlated to rule number 2, which is price accordingly. Because if you're conveying in terms of, oh, I'm going to have you buy my course, people are going to devalue what you actually sell. When you start talking in terms of transformation, what the end result is going to be, after they go through your course, that's when the real magic happens. That's when you can really start charging what you're actually worth. I have had relationship coaches come to me and they sell an $8,000 program to help people who are going through a very terrible divorce. Maybe their wife or their spouse cheated on them, and they're helping them get them back on their feet. And so they communicate their language in terms of eliminating that pain that they're currently in and finding their dream soulmate. Because no one wants to be alone. They want to be with their dream soulmate. And so they're helping overcome that pain and they're selling the end result. Okay, step number 4 in how to sell your expertise online, the 5 tips to selling your expertise online. We kind of already talked about this, but number 4 is always about fast tracking your success with proof that you already have. And so you do not necessarily need A lot of extra social proof. Does it help as you start to grow and scale? Absolutely. You're going to want to get as many testimonials and proof stories of your customers as you start to work with them. But you do not need external proof to land your first client. People are buying what you already know. And if you already know that you can help someone and you've already had success helping yourself or building something successful for yourself, and you're showing other people how to do it, that is more than enough to make your first couple of sales online and getting people to hire you one-on-one or getting it done for them, okay? So that's all about number 4, your own internal proof. And the final step that you need to implement if you want to sell your experience online is you need to start as intimate as possible. Working one-on-one or as closely as possible with your first ideal customers is so crucial that I can't elaborate, I cannot accentuate it enough. That's why it's number 5, because I wanted to end on a high note, is that working one-on-one with clients or done-for-you services or as intimately as possible does a couple of things. Number 1, it gets as close to a guaranteed success or guaranteed result as possible because you're in the trenches with them. You're helping them get that transformation themselves. And number 2, it allows you to start to see what are the holes, what are the gaps in your product that you're ultimately delivering, which is very, very important as you start to optimize and build and make a bulletproof product, make a solid product as much as possible. So many people try and build the course out before they even sell it, that working with somebody one-on-one allows you to uncover so many of the gaps that you're going to run into and so many of the questions that they're going to run into. You're going to know their marketing language. You're going to know all of the reasons why they hired you in the first place, and you have the highest likelihood to get them success. So step number 5 is all about intimacy and starting as intimate as possible so you can get that result from them as quickly as you can and learn more about your product without worrying about how to build out the course or build out your content or whatever it is. And so those are the 5 steps for selling your expertise online, and use this as you start to get your experience and figure out what it is that you want to do in the world of the expert market. Hope you enjoyed this video, guys. It is my mission to serve you and help you take your message, take your expertise and monetize it for a professional service, for a professional world, right? I want to connect with the best of the best in the world, and I want to show you how you can leverage your expertise and turn it into a full-time income, if not more than a full-time income. So if you enjoyed this video, if you got some value out of it, go ahead and like and comment down below and share it with your audience so we can help spread this message and connect with many more experts out there. Till next time, it's Joel Erway here, and I'll see you then. Take care.